What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. And today is playoff day. We have finished the 2037 season, as you saw in the last episode, a wild ending to that with the owner dying and everything. If you didn't see that, go back and watch that video. I simmed it live for everyone, and the first game I simmed, the owner died. And then the new owner was announced. It was his son. He was a completely different type of owner, but we'll get to that later if you didn't already see that. Today is all about the playoffs and seeing if we can repeat as world champions. Won it all last year with a team that was not nearly as good as this team. Like, this is by far the best team that I think I've ever had in OOTP in the 2 years that I've played. We finished the season 104-58. Just absolutely dominated in every facet of the game. After everything's over, we'll do a recap of all of our standings and stuff like that and our statistics. But just know that we pretty much dominated every statistical category. But main objective here is to get through the playoffs and see if we can repeat. So we'll go over the playoff tree. Obviously, you see it on your screen, but for those of you that maybe just listen instead of watch, I will list off the teams that did make it to the 2037 playoffs here. First and foremost, the division series. First round buys are for the American League, the Mobile Bay Bears, Houston Astros, and for the National League, the Miami Marlins and the Salt Lake City Saints. Really cool to see Salt Lake in the playoffs. I haven't really kept up with them, but I know that they have had their struggles as well. But it is cool to see them in the playoffs. I don't know how many they have been in. This might be their first time. I'll have to go back and look. But we did see the Miami Marlins last year in the World Series, so we could potentially see a rematch. We will see how far they make it, but they did get the first round bye. The wild cards for the American League are Kansas City versus Minnesota. The winner of that series we will play. The other series is Detroit versus the White Sox, and the winner of that series will play the Houston Astros. In the National League, it's the San Diego Padres and the New York Mets. Winner of that plays the Miami Marlins. And the other series is the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. A little bit of a rivalry there in the wild card, but the winner of that series plays the Salt Lake City Saints. So really cool to see both Chicago teams make it into the playoffs. That's pretty cool. Don't think I've seen that one yet. Haven't really paid attention really, but it's different. It's odd that they both get in. Usually one of them is terrible, but that is the 2037 playoffs. So as mentioned, we have the first round bye, so I'm going to sim it up until we have our matchup, and then we will take a look at that matchup. And as always, I will sim those games live in front of you and see what the outcome is. All right, it looks like the division series are set in both leagues, and actually have already started in the National League. The division series of the National League is the New York Mets versus the Miami Marlins. The Mets actually lead that series 1-0, and the Salt Lake City Saints versus the Chicago Cubs. The Saints also lead that series 1-0. In the American League, it have the White Sox and the Astros. So we are still alive for seeing a Chicago World Series. I really hope that doesn't happen, because that means we're not in it, but that is still a possibility. And then we will be playing the Minnesota Twins, our division foes, in the division series. So it's a best of 5 series. Hopefully we can sweep this series and move on to the LCS and wait our opponent between the White Sox and the Astros. But just got to win. However we win is how we win. Last year, if you guys watched the World Series or watched the playoff run, it was an interesting run. I believe we were down to like our last out or something like that in the League Championship Series, and we were down like 3-1, and we came back and won that, and then went to the World Series and ultimately wound up winning it. But now it's a new playoffs, new year, and hopefully we do not struggle like we did in the playoffs last year and have to play from behind all the time. So we'll see. Let's take a look at the matchup. All right, today it is Matt Simbrat versus Peng Ao. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Had a 2.99 ERA this year. Now, that's not bad. Kind of a weird way of getting a 2.99 ERA. I don't know how. He's a starting pitcher. He has 40 stamina. His fastball's below average. His cutter's below average. His sinker is above average. His control is above average. Maybe that's why he is pitching well. I don't know. Like, this profile doesn't strike me as a 2.99 ERA, but maybe he's just getting lucky. I don't know. Last year he had a 4 ERA. So hopefully we can give him a more than a 4 ERA here in the playoffs. He's going up against our ace, Matt Simbrat. Needs no introduction. Wound up with a 3.7 ERA and led the league in wins with 18. Overall, in the playoffs, we were 9-4 versus Minnesota this year. So hopefully we can keep that momentum up. We scored the most runs in the American League and allowed the least amount of runs, while they scored the 7th most runs and they allowed the 4th. They were 4th in runs allowed. So definitely favored in this matchup. I think we should win it by all accounts. I haven't even looked at the next matchup, but it is an interesting one. Mr. Artem Alvarado, our old friend. We'll get to that in game 2. But yeah, game 1. I guess there's only one thing to do, and that's to see what happens here. See if we can't start this playoffs series with a win. We do not. Oh, we're going to play this again this year. We fall to the Minnesota Twins 5-3. Simbrat got the loss. Al got the win. It looks like the Twins put up 5 runs in the 4th, and that is all they got, but that is all they needed. The one inning did it for us. Simbrat came unglued there in that 1 inning, and that was all she wrote. He did pitch 7 innings, though, with 5 earned runs. Haybear came in 2 innings scoreless. But, that 1 inning cost us, and it is what it is. Hitting wise, we out hit them 8-5, so we didn't do bad offensively. Besides the fact that we only scored 1 run, but definitely not how we wanted to start this series, especially with it being a best of 5. So now our backs are against the wall here, and we got pretty much are in a must-win situation tomorrow. I guess technically it's today now. All right, let's take a look at this matchup. Our old friend Artem Alvarado had him in Mobile for a few years and never really could get him to where we wanted to. Seemed to always struggle with us. He went to Cleveland, had a 3.94 ERA, and then went to Minnesota and had a 3.86 ERA. So both of those teams seemed to play better, or he seemed to play better for both of those teams. Hopefully, that is not the case today because we need this win. On the mound for us is Arturo Avalos, who was essentially our ace this year when it came to ERA, 2.73 ERA, which was first in the league. Just absolutely dominant, and we need his performance today. We really do, and to even the series and not go down 2-0 in a best of 5, because then we would have to win 3 in a row. So let's pray that he gets it done. He does not. So now we are in a must-win situation in the very first series, and we have to win 3 straight games. This is worst case scenario, y'all. Unfortunate and not where we want to be at all. It is not where we want to be. Another tough pitching matchup. 2.98 ERA this year versus our 3.57 Josh Colley. See where they have hit well off of Colley or not. Doesn't show me. I'll have to go dig into that, but I guess it really doesn't matter. We have to win. We don't have much of an option here. I don't like these type of situations, especially off the year that we just had. We're literally on the brink of elimination, and we may not even make it to the ALCS. Don't even know what to say. All I can do is click this button and pray that it says Mobile defeats Minnesota, and it doesn't say anything else. So here goes nothing. We did barely get this win, 1-0. Man, we are struggling. I didn't even look at I was so distraught after the second loss. I didn't even look. We lost 10-7 that game. Avalos gave up 2 earned runs. Sandoval, Wheeler gave up 5. Man, that was a rough game for our pitching. Man, I'm glad I didn't look at that. All right, back to this game where we actually won. 1-0. Man, 5 hits. We scored 1 run in the freaking 3rd inning. Mason Davis, again, is having an outstanding postseason. He's hitting .545 in this series. No home runs, but he does have a .545 average. He was 3 for 3 in this game. Looks like Jasso provided the only run, and it was a solo shot in the 3rd inning. Yeah, I'm really glad our pitching stood up for that one because we only squeaked out 1 run against probably their best pitcher, who went 8 innings, giving up 5 hits and 1 earned run and got the loss. That's tough. That's really tough. Hopefully that's the win that we needed to just get this thing going, because we got to win 2 more here, and we have no wiggle room. We do have an off day, and now we have Raimondi on the mound, who I like in this situation against. Dang, this dude, they got some good pitching. I was not expecting that from Minnesota. We played against them enough and played so well against them that I figured that their pitching wouldn't be as good as it is. But I mean, my scouting accuracy on this guy is only average, so I guess he could be a little worse, but he's not going to be that much worse. But he had 3.94 ERA this year in 28 starts. 22-year-old, just a stud. So definitely have our work cut out for us, being that he's already pitched in the playoffs and has a 1.17 ERA. Let's see what he did. He went 7 2/3 with 4 hits, 1 earned run, only 5 strikeouts, but didn't walk anybody. So tough matchup here. I really hope that we can come out on top. I like Chris DeBose. I would really like the matchup if we could get to game 5. I love that matchup. You could argue I would pitch DeBose right here over Raimondi, but I haven't had any issues out of Raimondi, really. He's been solid for us as well. Our entire pitching staff has. So who am I to second guess who starts? But again, another must-win situation. And let's find out. We pulled off the victory 2-1. My goodness. Oh, this is stressful. Looks like we did hit a couple of home runs, or one home run. What do you know? Mason Davis hit a home run. A 2-run shot in the 3rd inning, and that was all we needed. Man, our pitching has showed up in the last couple of games, and did we need it? Raimondi went 8 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, and 11 strikeouts. Huge. And Nangare got the save. They also pitched well. 6 1/3, 2 earned runs. There's nothing to be ashamed about there. And then their reliever went inning and 2/3 with 1 hit and no runs. So thankfully, Mason continues to be hot in the playoffs. Him and Skelding are both pretty hot. The rest of the offense is pretty cold. Rigsby's hitting 312. Aguilar's only hitting 235. Castillo's only hitting 143. We really had Mason and Castillo were rolling last year in the playoffs. Really, everyone was, and so was Mr. Javorsky Lane, who's only hitting 231 this year in the playoffs. But we got to a game 5, and that is where we needed to get. Now it's both teams it's a win or go home situation, and both teams have, their quote unquote ace. Although we have DeBose, which I would argue is probably our true ace. I love this pitching matchup. I do think we have the edge here. I hope we have the edge, because I really don't want to lose in the division series. Now, if it's like I don't make it to the World Series, it's like it's a waste of a year. So, which is crazy to think about, considering it took us 10 years to get there, and then we get there, and now we're right back in the position to repeat because we have a better team. So it's like a letdown when you don't get there. But yeah, game 5 at home. Our ace is on the mound. And his first ever. Well, no, he pitched last year in the playoffs. But he's on the mound, and he's going to win it for us, hopefully. I don't know what happened because it went to an injury. Nate Aguilar twisted his ankle, and he's going to be out for 4 days. What is he out? What's hurting? Throwing influences his running moderately. He's just going to have to play. Oh, we did win the series. Unbelievable. Down 2 games to none. We came back and won 3 straight to take the series. Unbelievable. Jasso and Davis hit home runs. Davis just continues to rake in the playoffs. Absolutely clutch player. Rigsby has his average to 333. Castillo still hasn't turned it around. Skelding is now hitting 412. Jasso is now hitting 312 with 2 home runs. So maybe things are starting to turn around offensively. Pitching wise, DeBose only went 4 innings. Man, he pitched 100 pitches. Oh man, he had 8 walks. Holy smokes. 8 walks in 4 innings, and somehow he only gave up 4 runs. Man, they had a 4-0 lead on us. We came back with 2 runs in the 5th, 2 more in the 7th to tie it, and then 2 in the 8th to take the lead and win the game 6-4. Both on 2-run. All the last 2 were 2-run home runs. Rigsby hit a run-scoring single. That's what tied up or got the 2 runs in the 5th. But man, 4 innings, 8 walks. That's crazy. Haber came in, clutch, 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Sanborn, 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. And then Nangare got the save with 2 Ks in the last inning. Man, we got lucky there. I don't think I've ever seen a starter give up 8 walks and still get out of there and the team win the game. That's wild to me. But we'll take it. Nonetheless, we will take it. We will move on to the American League Championship Series, where it looks like we're going to play the Houston Astros. The New York Mets knock out the Miami Marlins, so they will not be returning to the World Series. And the Salt Lake City Saints move on to the National League Championship to face the New York Mets as they knock out the Cubs. So, big series for us there after going down 2-0. I am speechless. Maybe we're going to do the same thing we did last year and go down in every series, but who knows. Division Series MVP was Mason Davis. Coincidentally, he won the Division Series MVP last year as well. So he just played awesome the entire offseason, or postseason. Hopefully he can continue that this year. But let's go ahead and get to the American League Championship here. All right, Championship Series. Before we do that, I do need to go and check out my pitching. No one's injured. Simbrat should be rested. Arturo's rested. Colley's rested. Ramondi and DeBose need some time. That's fine. And this is kind of where I think I have the advantage in these 7-game series. Like, I have 5 pitchers. I don't have just 4 or 3. Like, I have 5 legit starters. So I think, that's going to be huge for us. Hopefully. All right, lineups. Aguilar, I got it, dude. You're hurting. You got 2 days left. You're going to have to suck it up. Just don't steal any bases, and you're going to be fine. Everybody else seems to be healthy and ready to roll. All right. Taking a look at the matchup. Mr. Simbrat, who pitched 7 innings last time, had that 1 inning, if you guys remember, 5 earned runs in that 1 inning. I believe it was like the 4th or 5th inning. And then he pitched well other than that, though. Nate Rowland is the opponent. Lefty, really solid-looking pitcher, 3.8 ERA, which is his worst in his career, it looks like. It's kind of wild. So he's got a track record of being solid. This year we only played Houston 3 times. They do have the lead on us, though, 2-1. They scored 777 runs, which is 6th in the AL, and they gave up 658 runs, which was 3rd in the AL. Pretty solid team. They have hit well against us. Augie Fott, whoever this dude is, has just destroyed us. He hit like 600 against us. 538 and 13 at-bats. Joe K, 462. That's pretty wild. They have hit well against us, that's for sure. Hopefully that does not continue. But I will say that we've hit well against them too, but we hit well pretty much against everybody. So, all right, yeah, game 1 in Mobile versus the Houston Astros. Nate Rowland, 17-8 versus Matt Simbrat, 18-6. American League Championships, games 1 goes to the Mobile Bay Bears. We defeat the Houston Astros 7-3, so finally we get to start the series with a win and not have to play from behind immediately. Home runs, Luis Castillo, thank God he's getting going. 2 home runs. Skelding hit another home run. We go to the box score here. Mason Davis got another hit. Looks like he got a double that scored a run. Luis Castillo hit 2 home runs, as I mentioned. Went 3 for 4 as well, so he's finally waking up. Rigsby continued to get hits. He's hitting 360 now in the playoffs. Skelding 2 for 4. He's hitting 429 in the playoffs. Isaac Cardenas is only hitting 136. And Brendan Rohr is only hitting 105. Vicente Jasso is hitting well at 316. But there are 3 guys that are really bringing us down offensively, and hopefully they can get things going. But I still think with those core players right there, we still might be doing enough. Simbrat went 6 1/3 with 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 11 strikeouts. And then Wheeler came in for 2 2/3 innings and struck out 3, only giving up 1 hit. So pitched well there. We tagged their ace, I guess, for 6 runs in 4 1/3 innings. So that is very positive. And we out hit them 10-6. So a great start to the American League Championship. No complaints. Let's hope that the rest of the series goes that way. Free agents were revealed. All of the inbox messages are filling up. But let me go ahead and just clear all that out and then check out these international free agents, and then I'll pop back in and we'll get going with game 2. All right, I have gone through and did the whole international amateur free agent showcase, scouted all the guys that we needed. So we ran our first practice. Today was the showcase start date. So the practices had begun, so I had to go and pick some guys there. And then I went out and cleared my messages. A lot of good messages, and I'll update you guys once we're done with the playoffs here. But there's a lot of good things in that message box that I will have to update you all on. But first, back to the main thing right now, and that's the playoffs. Game 2 against the Astros. Arturo Avalos going against Jonathan Treadway, who, by all intents and purposes, is outmatched here. And he got destroyed in game 1 that he pitched in the playoffs. Gave up 5 earned runs in 4 1/3. Arturo Avalos pitched 5 innings and gave up 2 earned runs in his playoff start. So definitely love the matchup there, pitching wise. Hopefully we can go ahead and take advantage of this and get a commanding 2-0 lead here in the American League Championship. And we do. The Bay Bears defeat the Astros 4-1. Avalos with the win, Treadway with the loss, Nangare with the save, and we did it without a home run. So Mason Davis again, 2 for 3, RBI, scored a run, walked, hitting 440, just absolutely the MVP of the playoffs so far. But our offense is starting to turn things around. Our top 5 hitters besides Luis Castillo, who went 0 for today, are hitting above 300. Skelding 390, went 0 for 2, but he did have 2 walks, scored a run. Castillo did have 0 for 4, but did score a run, so he got on somehow. Aguilar went 2 for 4. Very, very good from the leadoff spot. Didn't score any runs, but it's always good to see him get on. It looks like we took that 1-0 lead in the third and then 3 more in the fifth, and that is all we needed. They did get 1 in the ninth, but just wasn't enough. We went 6 innings with Avalos, 3 hits, 12 strikeouts. Very, very solid performance. No walks on 87 pitches. Apparently, that is all he was allowed to pitch. D'Estacio came in, pitched 28 pitches over 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. Wheeler came in for a third of an inning, had a strikeout, and gave up the earned run, and then they went ahead and put Nangare in for the save. Pitched those last 2 outs on 7 pitches. Treadway gave up the 4 walks and only the 1 earned run, but 4 runs. So they had an error that gave up the other 3 or allowed the other ones on. So huge win for us there. 2-0 lead in the American League Championship with sorry, I was simming it, and then I got a notification. Mercario is back from his injury. Hold on, guys. Let me fix this, and then I'll get back to what I was saying. All right. Sorry about that. Mercario came off of the injured list, and I had to reassign him to the 40-man roster, then send him down because there's no room for him. Obviously, I'm not going to use him in the playoffs because he hasn't pitched in over a year, so he's not ready, and his ratings dropped quite a bit as well. We'll get to that later. But as I was saying, Game 3, it's great to have a commanding 2-0 lead going into Game 3 with Josh Cawley on the mound versus Santiago Valle. Another pitching matchup that you really like. Valle had a 5.45 ERA went 4-12, so tells me that they might be dealing with some injuries. I don't know, but definitely not a guy that you want on the mound per se in a playoff situation, and what is almost a must-win game, because if you go down 3-0 against the Mobile Bay Bears with the pitching and the offense that we have, you are in a world of trouble. So we win this game. I really like our probability to get back to the World Series. Checking in on the playoff tree, it looks like the Salt Lake City Saints are up 3-0 on the Mets, so the Saints are rolling. They have yet to lose a game in the playoffs, so that is concerning. They were 97-65 this year. They got some dudes. This guy, Luis Lachea, making the major league minimum, and the dude hit 44 bombs. Juan Carranza, 36 bombs. They got some dudes that can hit the ball at the ballpark. That's how they hurt you. Their pitching isn't bad, but they win because they hit bombs. That will be an interesting matchup, assuming we get there. But let's focus on our matchup currently. We'll worry about them when we get there. But yeah, Santiago Valle versus Cawley, another matchup that I really like, and I think we can take advantage of to go up 3-0. And yeah, we are in Houston, so that is, I guess, the only caveat to that. They played really well at home. They were 58-23, and we were 57-24 at home. We were also 47-34 on the road, so we weren't bad on the road either, but we definitely were better at home. But let's see if we can go up 3-0. We cannot. Houston defeats us 4-3. Valle got the win. Cawley got the loss. I do want to see this one. Looks like Valet, our colleague, gave up 4 earned runs, 2 in the third and 2 in the fourth. He went 6 in the third. And then Valet only gave up the 3 in the fourth. We were only able to squeak out 3 runs on this guy. Looks like we did not hit. We did a home run. Isaac Cardenas hit a home run in the fourth. And then how did we get the other runs? Oh. Mason Davis scored a run scoring double. Cardenas hit a solo home run. And I must have scored 2. Nope, 1 RBI, 1 RBI. Castillo got the RBI. Okay, there it is. It wasn't listed on here. So Luis Castillo got the hit. So good to see him finally get a hit and get some production there. But wasn't enough to get the job done. And that is unfortunate. We really wanted that game to go our way. That was a really good pitching matchup for us. But nonetheless, we are up 2-1, and Danny Fouts is eligible to come off of the IL. I don't think I can add him to the playoff roster, but he definitely can be on the roster if we make it to the World Series. So that is of note. Let me go ahead and get him situated in the roster somewhere. I'll have to make a move, and then we will pick it back up in Game 4. All right, Game 4. Astros have Jesus Rojas. Man, we really have the starting pitching upper hand here. Like, this is not a guy that you want in a must-win game, but he is the Iron Man, and he has gone out and given the Astros as many innings as he possibly can. He has had 1 start this year, so it tells me they're going to have a bullpen game. So he did start the last game at 5 1/3 innings, but hopefully the bullpen game comes back to bite them. We have Daniel Raimondi, who went 8 innings, 1 earned run in his last start against Minnesota, and really helped us win that game. Love the matchup here. Hopefully we can take advantage and go up 3-1. We do. The Bay Bears defeat the Houston Astros 5-1. We went on a home run hitting spree. Great to see Luis Castillo hit 2 for 3. Had a home run, 2 walks. He's really starting to come around. It's his 3rd home run in the playoffs. Mason went 0 for 4. That's his first 0 for, I think, in the whole playoffs. He's still hitting 364. Aguilar went 0 for 5. Rigsby 1 for 4. Skelding hit another home run. We had Rigsby hit a home run, Skelding hit a home run, Castillo hit a home run, and Rohrer hit a home run. It's good to see Rohrer hit 1 and get alive here. He's 3 for 3 now. He was really struggling. Now it's just Dvorsky Lane that is struggling the most, hitting 167 in the playoffs. So offense is coming alive. Pitching is still doing pitching things. Raimondi, 8 more innings, 1 earned run. Identical performance to his first outing. Tirado came in, pitched 1 inning, and shut the door in 8 pitches. We won the game 5-1. Never trailed in this game. Led from the word go. Scored 1 run in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the fourth, and that was all we needed. They got 1 run in the 7th inning. They didn't even went. They went with someone else to start the game. Goodman actually started the game. Only pitched 1 inning. Rojas came in and pitched 5. Gave up 3 earned runs. Rojas gave up the 2, and then Winkowski and Robinson came in after that to finish the game off. But they had definitely a struggle bus in pitching there, and that's going to cost them. It should cost them because we're up 3-1 now, and they have 1 more game in Houston, and then we come home for the final two if necessary in the series. Hopefully we can close it out because we have DeBose going against Roland. Roland is, their proverbial ace. We did beat him, I believe, in game one. Yes, game one we did beat him. He gave up 6 earned runs in that game, so let's hope that he does that in game 5 as well. DeBose, coming off of his 8-walk outing. Let's hope he does not repeat that, because we do not need 8 walks this time. We need no walks, maybe 8 strikeouts, and a much better performance from him to finish the series and make it to the World Series. Just want to double tap over here on the National League side. The Mets have made things interesting, winning the next 2 games, and now it's 3-2 in that series. So that is getting interesting. It's good to see the Saints actually lost a game. But let's go back to ours and focus here and see if we can't clinch the American League Championship right here, Game 5 in Houston. What's it going to be? It was not meant to be. They beat us 4-2. DeBose took the loss. Weaver got the win. So it tells me that we may have gotten to the starter. We did, scored 2 runs on him. 1 in the first, 1 in the fourth, and then they scored 1 in the fourth. So DeBose didn't. Where did he pitch? DeBose pitched 7 innings. It was like he got into the 8th inning and gave up 3 runs. So that was probably, could have been a bad decision by the coach to leave him in there. 7 strong innings. He only had 3 strikeouts, 4 walks, still struggling with the walks, and then gave up those 3 earned runs in the 8th inning, so didn't even get an out in the 8th. And that essentially did us in. Tirado came in, didn't give up any runs, but tough to see there. Mason Davis with 0 for 4 with 4 Ks, definitely his worst game in the playoffs. He was 0 for 4 yesterday as well, or in the last game, but didn't have 4 strikeouts, so this is definitely the worst he has played. And now it is 3-2, so it becomes even more interesting as we go back to Mobile to try and close this thing out. All right, Game 6. Jonathan Treadway went 5 innings last time, gave up only 1 earned run. Let's hope we can fix that. Matt Simbrat went 6 1/3 and gave up 3 earned runs. Not bad. If he can repeat that here, we might be all right. I think we could score this time on Treadway and clinch this thing. That is what I hope to do here, because I do not want to go to a Game 7. Although I like that pitching matchup as well. But let's just go ahead and close this thing out. The Mets series and the Mets and the Saints are going to a Game 7. So can the Mets come back from 3-0? Man, that would be interesting. All right, Game 6. And we beat the Houston Astros, and we are going to the World Series. Great news. I'm a little stunned. I thought there was gonna be like a notification here, so I had to double check to make sure we were up 4-2, but we are in fact up 4-2, and that is the series. So we clinch the series in 6 and move on to the World Series, where we will face either the Saints or the Mets. We scored 3 runs in the first, and that is all the scoring that we got, but it is all the scoring that we needed. Simbrat went 6 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 7 strikeouts, had 3 walks and 2 earned runs. Wheeler came in, inning and 2/3, no runs. Nangare came in, got his 5th save of the playoffs, gave up no runs. Rigsby hit a home run in the first inning and had 2 of the 3 RBIs. Cardenas had the other RBI. Mason Davis, again, 0 so hopefully his 0 streak is done. But we were still able to clinch the series without him really participating the last 3 games. The MVP of the series is Luis Castillo, so good to see him bounce back from the horrible division series that he had. He's starting to turn things around here in the playoffs. So now we need to go and see who we play in the World Series. And it looks like we will play the Salt Lake City Saints. Very cool to play the expansion franchise that we expanded with. Didn't think we would have those 2 teams play each other, but I guess, mathematically it was bound to happen eventually. But really cool to see it. Now let's see who can prevail in the battle of the expansion franchises. All right, here we are. Game 1 of the 2037 World Series. Mobile Bay Bears versus the Salt Lake City Saints, the 2 expansion franchise that started this whole thing. Really cool to see us play each other in the World Series. Of note, I did make us change to the lineups. As you guys saw, Danny Fouts came back from his injury. It's a little bit of a gamble. He hasn't played since August. But how do you not play this guy? He's your leadoff guy. So I feel like if I didn't put him in and I lost, I would feel some type of way about it. And if I do put him in and I lose, I'll convince myself it wasn't because of him. So he's in. He's had way too long off, so he might be rusty, but nonetheless, if he can get on base, he's going to steal some bases. And then we're going to run Nate Aguilar second to hopefully just get on and allow Mason, Luis, and Danny Skelding to do the home run trots, as the Salt Lake City Saints are probably going to do quite a bit of their own. So we did play Salt Lake City this year, and we didn't win a single game. So that is unfortunate. We scored 861 runs, and that was tied for first in the American League. They scored 857 runs, which was first in the National League. We gave up 616 runs, which was first in the American League, and they gave up 731 runs, which was 5th best in the National League. So I would say we're the slight favorite. I would say offensively, we're pretty even. They hit a lot more home runs, but we are better, well-rounded, I would say. And we would have probably the edge in pitching, but it's going to be a good series. I think it could easily go 7 games, and it's a toss-up, really. I'm not too confident, but I am somewhat confident, I guess. But I don't like the fact that we haven't beaten them all year, so that really does worry me. But let's go ahead. Arturo Avalos has pitched well for us here in the playoffs. 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Then the most recent time, 6 innings, no earned runs. He is going to square off against Barrett Kent, who was 9-8 this year with a 4.5 ERA and hasn't pitched great in the playoffs. He's given up 3 runs twice and then 2 earned runs the last time out. So he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been unhittable. I think we have a good pitching matchup here. It should be a good one, and hopefully we can get this thing started off on the right foot, just like we did the ALCS. We are at home. The Saints played well on the road as well, just like us. So I don't think there's an advantage there, but you always prefer being at home. So we'll start the series with the first 2 games at home, and hopefully we can win those games. So game 1, here we go. And we do get the win, 11-6. lots of home runs were hit. Looks like they had 2 home runs and we had 2 home runs. Jaworski Lane, nice to see him get going, and Mason Davis hit a home run as well. So good to see him get back off of his 0 for streak. He was 2 for 5, 3 RBIs, 2 runs, back in the swing of things. And like I said, good to see Jaworski Lane get a hit. He had been struggling mightily. He's hitting 146 in the playoffs, but does have a second home run. Hopefully that is what gets him started. Danny Fouts did get a hit and an RBI, so that is good. Nate Aguilar in the 2-hole went 3 for 5, so good to see that as well. Castillo 3 for 4. Skelding did go 0 for. Roar went 2 for 4 with 5 RBIs. Man, what a day for him. We scored 1 run in the second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 7 runs in the sixth after they had just scored 5. That would have taken the lead from us. And then they scored 1 in the eighth, and that was all that she wrote. Avalos went 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Their pitcher went 5 1/3, 6 earned runs. And then we had Sandoval, Cope, Hebert, and Sambor all come in, and they combined for 1 earned run over 4-ish innings. Yeah, 4 innings total. So great start to the World Series for us. Good to see us finally get a win against the Salt Lake City Saints, the first one of the year, and it's arguably the one that's counted the most so far. So I will take it. Game 2, again in Mobile, Josh Cawley versus Joe Gross. He has pitched well. Looks like he was a recent call-up. He came up towards the end of the year, only had 5 starts, but pitched well in his first 2 series, or starts, I should say, giving up 1 run and then 2 earned runs, and then his last start went 6 1/3 and gave up 4 earned runs. So hopefully that will continue there in this game. Cawley gave up 4 earned runs in his last start as well, but then went 7 innings, 0 runs in his first playoff start this year. So hopefully we can repeat that and then go up 2-0 here in the World Series. And we do. We won the game 8-0. Mason Davis with another home run. Really starting to pour things on here. 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. He's now hitting 327 in the playoffs. 4 home runs, 15 RBIs. Luis Castillo got a hit. Danny Skelding got a hit with an RBI. Nate Aguilar having a great World Series so far. 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. And Danny Fouts also get another hit and an RBI. Great start to the World Series for us here. 3 runs in the third, 2 runs in the fourth, 1 run in the seventh, 2 runs in the eighth. And we out-hit them 11-4 and outscored them 8-0. Cawley went 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks. DeStasio came in, pitched the final 2 innings, giving up just the 1 hit. Their pitcher went 3 2/3 with 5 earned runs. They did have to use 4 pitchers, so that is also an advantage for us. Mason's home run was a 3-run bomb, which was the big blow in the 3rd inning to get the scoring started, and then the floodgates opened to make it 8-0. Outstanding start. We couldn't have started this thing better, going to Salt Lake up 2 games to none. Hopefully we can, at a minimum, take 1 game in Salt Lake. Would prefer to take 2 and win the World Series. But at a minimum, take 1. That way we will guarantee that no matter what, if we don't win the World Series, we'll come back to Mobile where we will have home field advantage. But I say we just go ahead and take 2 games right off the rip here and win this thing in a sweep. That's what I would prefer. But Let's take a look at the matchups. Matt Simbrat, who has struggled a little bit in the playoffs, but hasn't been bad. His last 2 starts were quality starts, so I won't say he struggled. I mean, they're very respectable starts. 6 in the third innings, both starts, 3 runs and 2 runs. So nothing to be ashamed of. Bobby Merritt, who has had a really good playoffs, 2 earned runs in his first start. Well, 1 earned run his first start, 2 earned runs in his second start, and then last start was 6 innings, 0 runs. So he has pitched really well here in the playoffs. I favor the pitching matchup for the ratings, but his performance has been a little bit better than Simbrat, and they need that right now because they're in a hole, and this would put them in a huge hole that they may not be able to climb out of. And in fact, they go into that hole. We are up 3-0 here in the 2037 World Series. Won the game 6-5, scored 1 run in the first, 1 in the second, 2 runs in the third, and then a run in the 6th and the 7th. They scored 3 in the third, 1 in the 4th, and 1 in the 5th. We won 6-5. Overall, we got what we needed to win. Danny Fouts 2 for 4, so he is definitely playing well. Aguilar with another hit. Mason Davis with 2 more hits, 2 for 5 with the RBI. He's definitely the front runner for World Series MVP. He's hitting .336 now with 4 home runs and 16 RBIs. Castillo went 0 for 5, unfortunately. Skelding went 2 for 4 with 2 runs, so he is still hitting the ball. Cardenas 3 for 5. Everyone getting hits except for Castillo. Even Javorsky Lane got 2 hits. So the offense is really stepping up and showing out. And the pitching is, well, it's doing its thing. It's like it did all year. Matt Simbrat, 7 innings. Gave up 5 runs, though. So, yeah, he gave up 3 runs in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. So, didn't pitch as well as I thought, but he did well enough. Tirado came in and Nangare came in, and neither one of them gave up anything. Like I said, it was enough to get the job done, and now we are in a massive, massive driver's seat and advantage as we go into Game 4, up 3-0 with, again, another great starting pitching matchup for us. They have Mike Dione going. Not a bad profile. He didn't pitch well this year. Was like he was traded mid-season. Had a 5.51 ERA in Toronto and then a 4.53 ERA in Salt Lake City, and hasn't pitched well in the playoffs. Has struggled. Has actually only had 1 start in the playoffs for some reason. I guess because they know he has struggled. He had 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs on 6 hits. Hopefully he struggles again and we can finish this thing. Raimondi has pitched outstanding for us. Both of his starts have been 8 innings of 1 earned run, 1 home run in each start, 11 strikeouts in 1 start, 10 strikeouts in the other start. If he repeats that, we're World Series champs, like bottom line. So I'm just going to say he's going to repeat it, and we're going to go home with a sweep and back-to-back World Series championships. The Mobile Bay Bears have swept the Salt Lake City Saints and are once again World Series champions, back-to-back. Unbelievable. Didn't think it was going to happen. I thought for some reason or some way, somehow, we would lose. And in the division series, down 2-0, I thought for sure we were done. We won 3 games in a row and haven't looked back since. We have dominated, and man, is it nice to see. And we did it against the expansion franchise. And unfortunately, they beat us 3-0 in the regular season. But in the postseason, we beat them 4-0. So that's the only thing that matters. Win in the playoffs. We also take the season series because we beat them 4-3 overall. But man, back-to-back world champs. I've never done that. Like I said, I told you guys I played this game for last year's game and this year's game. I've never won back-to-back, so that's really cool. And man, what do you say we do it for a third time? Yeah, that's wild. We won the game 6-1. Raimondi got the win. Let's see. No one hit a home run. Let's see what Raimondi did. 6 2/3, 1 earned run again, 8 Ks, 2 walks. Didn't even pitch his best game, and he still dominated. Hebert came in, pitched an inning and 2/3, and then Sambor came in to get the last 2 outs and receive the dog pile that probably ensued after that 27th out in Game 4. Great series. Castillo showed up 3 for 4 in that game, 2 runs, an RBI. Mason Davis went 1 for 4. Nate Aguilar 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Danny Fouts, what a decision that was to bring him in, 2 for 5. He wound up hitting .333 in the series with 4 RBIs. Danny Skelding 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Cardenas 2 for 5. Just overall super happy, super impressed with the team's performance, being down 2-0 in the division series, and then come back and then just dominating the rest of the way. Mason Davis, I believe, is probably going to be the World Series MVP. I'll go check. But 328 in the playoffs, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. And yes, Mason Davis is the World Series MVP. So add that to his list of accomplishments. 2-time world champion, World Series MVP, 2-time Division Series MVP, 5-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glover, and Rookie of the Year. And he's not done yet. He could have won a Gold Glove this year. I don't know. We'll see. But he's not stopping. We're not stopping. The Bay Bears are going to try and run it back for a 3rd straight year. Can we get the three-peat? A lot of things need to happen between now and then. A lot of decisions need to be made. A lot of extensions maybe have to be made. A lot of contracts have to be negotiated. But I think there's a possibility. We're going to have essentially the same core team back, and it could happen. It really could. Best team I've ever had in this game, by far, not even close. 104-58 and won the World Series. Super excited, ecstatic, and speechless. And with that, I'm going to call it an episode. We were over an hour, so that I knew that would take a while. I was hoping it would take a while because we would be in the World Series and win the thing. But what a great year. Thank you guys so much for continuing to watch and support this channel. Super fun interacting with you guys. Like I always say, I love it. And I can't wait to come back and continue making videos. Like I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break. Got family coming into town tomorrow. So I'm going to squeak this video out and wanted to get it done for you guys just so we could see what happened in the playoffs. But it's a good spot to pause for that week, and then we pick it back up with trying to get the three-peat. It's going to be a challenge, but I think it's possible, and hope you guys come along for the ride and watch it and see if it can happen. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am, and I will see you all in about a week. Have a good one.